There's renewed concern over the risks associated with gas stoves following new research released last week. It's 7 o'clock, good evening, and welcome to LJ News. Syed Muqtadar says he was just 7 years old when he was on the verge of death. In his classroom in India, the schoolboy suffered a major asthma attack. He struggled to breathe as his father rushed him to a medical center, where he waited hours for a doctor to see him. It was one of the most painful times in my life, Mr. Muqtadar, also known by his nickname Sam, told SBS News. I just looked out for a doctor as the only person who could relieve me from this pain and agony. Now living in Australia and in his 40s, the Melbourne resident and occupational health and safety advisor blames years of exposure to household wood and gas burners for his predicament. My grandparents were die-hard fans of wood heaters and all the aromas you have during Ramadan and other festivities, he said. I could barely stay there for 2 minutes. His room in his childhood home was close to the kitchen. So, very late in my life, I realized that all my external trigger factors were basically due to the particle matters that came out of the smoke, he said. I would say the first I used an asthma puffer was in Australia. But even in Australia, Mr. Muqtadar and his family have moved homes 5 times in 9 years to avoid the risk of exposure and safety risks associated with gas and solar properties. A 2018 study from the University of Queensland found about 12% of childhood asthma in Australia could be attributed to gas stove exposure and 8% to household dampness. Last week, a peer-reviewed research paper in the United States said that 12% of childhood asthma cases in the United States and Europe could be attributed to indoor gas stoves. That recent research has triggered a wave of debate in the US, with conservatives criticizing calls for gas cooktops to be removed from households. In Australia, the Victorian government last year announced it was phasing out new gas installations for residential and commercial spaces. Research from Asthma Australia supports the move and identifies dangerous risk factors associated with gas cooktops. We know gas emits a range of toxic pollutants, and this is linked to 12% of childhood asthma burden. Michelle Goldman, Asthma Australia CEO, told SBS News. Gas cooktops are comparable to tobacco smoke exposure in the home, yet only a quarter of people are aware of the danger. Around half of Australians use gas cooktops, according to Asthma Australia. Ms. Goldman said the danger might come as a shock to parents. The best thing to do is ensure there's good ventilation, such as range hoods or open windows, and keep kids out of the kitchen when cooking, she said. Long term, we need to transition to safer, healthier options like electric and induction cooking. Asthma Australia said the federal government should transition towards healthier cooking options, but in a way that provides financial support for low-income households, investment by the government into social housing, and even incentives for landlords. Sam warned people not to be complacent about the risks of gas cooktops. He fears for his daughters, who he says have also suffered from asthma attacks and suffered from trigger factors. Asthma Australia research has found almost 1/3 of people with asthma or allergies have worse symptoms when they are at home. This is the opposite of what we want, which is safe, healthy, and secure homes, Ms. Goldman said.